Hi everyone, it's me, welcome back. So I wanted to talk to you about an accessible, queer, super friendly game making tool called Bitsy. Basically what is Bitsy? It's a very small tool to make little words, little games, little stories interactive and playable in your browser. You make them in your browser, you can play them in your browser. A Bitsy game is where you walk around with your arrow keys or you can swipe up and down the screen and sometimes when you bump into special things you can talk with them. So what are Bitsy games made of? You've got your room, you've got an avatar in it, it's decorated with tiles, you can talk to sprites, however the sprites look, and you can collect items. What do I like about Bitsy games? It's just the very unique visual style. 3 colors, 2 frame animation, 1 room that is not scrolling with you. Bitsy games just look a very distinct way. You've got this 128 pixel canvas where you can put anything you want on it. It's divided into 16 cells. In these cells there is either an avatar, tile, a sprite or an item. And I think a lot about talking with Bitsy games, it's just very similar to talking about poetry. Because Bitsy is a lot like poetry in the way that it's small scale, very human, and basically just gives you blank canvas where you can be very creative, but in a restrictive way. You are not encouraged to turn out 200 pages of poetry. You're not encouraged to make 20 hours of Bitsy game. In video games, you often describe games by having verbs. For example, cooking games, that is the verb cooking, of course. First-person shooter, you just shoot stuff. A strategy game, you plan, strategize. In Bitsy games, you mostly wander. You walk around, you stroll, you take in your surroundings, you take in the story, the things people are telling you with. Games can be a bit misleading because it's often very... when you look at the graphics, it looks kind of like an arcade game, but often there are stories. What is Bitsy really great to make? Small games, poetry of course, a single idea. For example, I played a game where, the minimalism hype that was going on, someone made a Bitsy game about it, how they felt. And for example, there's a game about you being a Roomba, or there's a game about being new in a city and don't knowing where to go, or also taking just care and trying to learn asking for help, where you wander through a forest and you have to kind of discover how you can take care of yourself. There's one where it's about your favorite MP3 and it really tries to simulate a little desktop, or about moving, or it's really just poetry, as I said, to being trans. Made my Animal Crossing town into a Bitsy game where I just talked about what my feelings are to my Animal Crossing town. So another great thing about making Bitsy games is when you actually play them, you can kind of imagine what pieces the creator put in where you can just try to analyze how they actually pulled it off. Sometimes there are things called hacks involved. The Bitsy 3D hack, that is just putting in the third dimension into Bitsy games. So how do you actually learn making Bitsy games? You just make them. If you want a little more advice, there is of course the Bitsy tutorial and the documentation of Bitsy, but also you can just play a lot of Bitsy games and try to recreate little things, or maybe just have your cat say something differently. Bitsy is small, Bitsy is non-commercial, Bitsy is just very low barrier to enter. It doesn't expect a lot from you, it just encourages you to bring your own voice to the table. And I think a lot of video games would be better for it, where we would focus less on the cool programming aspects and the graphics, and every feature needs 1 week to implement, but instead just is the world you want to see, the characters you want to speak to, and the little geniuses of how do I bend this little tool as far as I can, so it is just a lot more creatively fulfilling for me. Sharing games is such an unique challenge, because often you tell someone about a game, they then go home, have to buy it and then play it. And it takes so much joy out of discussion and showing games. And Bitsy basically just breaks this entire thing down. You can start by just going to this address and then just start making Bitsies.